Hello YouTube Pipers. I thought I'd sign on to try out this packet of sail. I was going to use my same little pipe here, my Royal Duke Dr. Graybow. This particular pouch is sealed, unlike the chocolate eclair, which I was surprised was not sealed. It has a pleasant odor to it. I don't know if I can, it feels too wet to do a gem from Father Knows Best. So I'll put it out here on my tray. Feels kind of moist. It's that long ribbon cut. Not really crazy about that. I think I might have packed that a little too hard. This is more like twigs. Or actually it looks like those veins in the tobacco leaf more than actual tobacco. Pulls apart like those veins too. We shall see how it tastes. I think we'll go with that. I'm not sure this is going to be my cup of tea, but we'll see. Try and seal it back up. Okay. Interesting. I was going to say, it felt like I was pulling in smoke, but nothing was coming out. Boy, that was warm. That was some hot smoke. Yeah, that's the first thing I noticed. The smoke itself is hot, whereas in the past, practically everything I've lighted has been cooler than this. I might have singed some nose hairs there, I'm not sure. Ooh. Says aromatic taste is low, and that's true. The room note, well, I wouldn't understand that. I mean, I wouldn't notice that because I'm sitting here too close to it. I'd like to be able to say something like, I feel a touch, just a shade, just a skosh of pineapple flavor. But I don't. Once again, I don't know what I taste. But at least this time it's not like standing over a campfire breathing in smoke. There is a taste to it, but it's not altogether pleasant to me. I tell you, I'm really that Velvet and Carter Hall guy. And I like Captain Black Royal too. No, I'm not quite sure I appreciate the taste of this. I might have to put it away until my palate is ready to accept it. Oh, goodness. I have a Clyde story, if you care to hear it. I was about 6 and he was about 10. Excuse me. And we were in Georgia at my great-grandmother's farm. And he and I got up early one morning, went to the gun cabinet and took out 22 rifles. Loaded them up and walked out down the road into the woods. We were hunting squirrels. Well, it didn't take long till we saw one. And Clyde got down on his knee and braced the rifle up against a tree trunk. Excuse me. Aimed and pulled the trigger, and there was a pop. And a squirrel fell from a limb ahead of us. Clyde said, "That's a pretty good shot, don't you think?" I said, "Yeah, you got him." He said, "Let's go look, see where he fell." So we went over there where he fell, and he picked him up. He was a good size. He said, "We'll have to take this back, and I'll show you how to skin it and clean it up so Grandma can cook it." I said, "Well, what does squirrel taste like?" He said, "It tastes like chicken." I said, "Well, why not just eat chicken?" And he said, "Neff, sometimes you're really dumb. You know that?" So anyway, we walked on deeper into the woods. And unbeknownst to us, back at the house, his mama was calling for him. Clyde, Clyde. Clyde didn't answer because we were about a mile into the woods back there. Well, she asked everybody, do you know where Clyde is? And everybody said no. And Granddaddy said, yeah, they got up early and took the rifles out to hunt squirrel. And she said, you let him go out and you gave a rifle to Ricky? He's going to shoot my boy, Clyde. They said, they know better than to shoot each other. They've been out there before. She said, yeah, but has Ricky ever fired a gun? And they said, I don't know if Ricky's ever fired a gun or not, but he's with Clyde. Clyde's going to show him what to do. She said, oh no, Clyde's going to get shot. I just know he is. And she carried on until Granddaddy came up to her and said, now listen, those two boys are okay. Clyde is smart. He is going to show Ricky how to deal with a gun. Even if Ricky hasn't had one before, Clyde will be okay. So she quit talking, but inside she was going like this. My boy, I'm going to lose my boy to my grandson, shooting him down. From as early as I can remember, my daddy said, even if you got a toy gun, boy, you don't ever point it at anybody. You understand that? He's very stern about that because I had my cowboy cap pistols. And he said, you don't point that at anybody. I don't care if it's a cap pistol. If it's a gun of any kind, you do not point it at people. He got that through my head. Anyway, back to the woods. Clyde and I kept walking on, and I stepped on a stick, and it went crack. And he said, shh. I said, what's up? He said, there's a squirrel that looks like a gray fox squirrel. I don't know one squirrel from another. He said, you want to try and shoot him? I said, yeah. So he took me over beside a tree trunk real stealthy like. And said to me, now get down on your knee and brace it up against that tree so it's steady and it's not wavering around. And then you look at the sight and you pin it right on him. And I said, okay. So I got down on my knee and I braced it up against that tree, held it steady, and I looked and had that thing trained on the squirrel. And he said, okay, you gonna shoot him? I said, yeah. And he said, well, go ahead and pull that trigger. So I went, pop! And that squirrel went out of that limb and right to the ground. And he said, man, that was a good shot, Neff. You got him. I said, I did? He said, what do you mean you did? He said, weren't you looking? He said, and I said, no, I closed my eyes when I pulled the trigger. He just shook his head. So we went over and we picked up the squirrel. He said, here, this is yours. You got him. He's a big one, too. He said, let's go back to that other tree, get the one I shot, and we'll go and take him back, and I'll show you how to skin him. He said, we can make Davy Crockett hats out of these skins. I said, Davy Crockett hat? Out of a squirrel? He said, yeah, what does it matter? Anyway, we picked him up, walking down the road. Each one of us had our squirrel by the tail. Meanwhile, back at the ranch or back at the farm, Grandma was looking at the clock and saying, "How long they been gone? How long they been gone?" They said, "It's only been an hour or so. They're okay." She said, I know that boy has tripped and shot Clyde, and Clyde's dead." And somebody said to her, "You know, Clyde could have tripped and shot Ricky dead too, you know." "Yeah, but Clyde is too competent with a rifle. Ricky, he's never had one as far as I know." Granddaddy looked out the window and said, "They're down yonder. They're coming up the road now." I said, "Look like they both got squirrel in their hand too." Well, we got there and I unlatched the gate, one of those big, lumbering, long wooden gates, 3 slats. Opened it up, and we walked through, and I shoved it back and threw the board to lock it back. And we went over to the gourd barn, where Granddaddy used to dry his gourds so that they could be used for birdhouses. Anyway, Clyde took out his knife. He had a pocket knife that was just sharp as a razor, because he knew how to use a whetstone, because his daddy had shown him how. So he was slicing into that, and my cousin from next door, one of the girls, came out and said, "What you doing, Clyde?" He said, "Dressing up this squirrel to get it ready for Grandma to cook it." And she said, "That looks awful." He said, "Yeah, well, he's got to have all this stuff taken out of the innards, and he's got to have the skin taken off so that just his body's there." He said, and she said, "How do you know it's a he?" And he just got that twinkle in his eye and looked down at her foot and said, You're stepping on him." She said, "What do you mean?" She said, and he said, "Lift up your foot." And she lifted up, and there were 2 round, pink and blue, sort of oval-shaped things that she had stepped into the dirt. And she looked down, and she realized what it was, and she screamed and ran back to the house. And Clyde just chuckled and chuckled. But he showed me how to do it, and I told him I didn't think I wanted to. I didn't know that I could handle a knife that sharp. So he got them both cleaned up. We tacked the hides up on the barn so they could dry out and we could cure them later. Walked into the house and he said, "Grandma, I brought you 2 squirrels. Think you can cook them up for us?" And she looked at him. She said, "Those are right dandy, son. Yeah, I can do that." And that night we had squirrel stew. And I realized why we didn't just eat chicken, because that was good. I don't think I've had it since, but it was good. Anyway, that was the tale of Clyde and me out hunting, and my grandmama just worried that I was going to shoot him. I guess that was kind of young to be handling a .22 rifle, but I don't know. We knew I probably didn't know what I was doing, but Clyde did, and he made sure that I did too. He taught me how to carry it and how to put the safety on and all that stuff. So It was just one of our adventures. And he got that twinkle in his eye again. Not to me, but to our cousin. That twinkle wasn't reserved just for me. Well, not much of a story, but just something I thought of. I hope you're doing well. Take care of yourselves. Not sure I like this sail. The longer I smoke it, the not keen on that taste in my mouth. Next time I'll either do that chocolate eclair again, or else I'll go back to my Carter Hall. That breeze coming in is a little too strong. Okay, folks, I'm going to batten up the hatch here. Take care of yourselves. Till next time, God bless and bye-bye.